recently had the opportunity to go to Metro Comic Con this past weekend, time of recording. Essentially, it's just like a regular Comic Con, but on a smaller scale here in Melbourne. Metro Comic Con is actually very new. So Metro Comic Con is actually this is their second year being put on. I went to their first year last year and was actually pretty good. I was very surprised with how well they had put it together. A lot of conventions that I've been to, a lot of them are quite large in scale. So when an event company decides to put together their own comic convention, and it's because it's brand new, they still need to reestablish them. They need to establish themselves. They get the word out, and essentially, I came across Metro Comic Con through socials, as they used to. So the actual event company, that that owns Metro Comic Con, they used to actually work on Oz Comic Con. So they used to run Oz Comic Con here in Australia. They do Oz Comic Con in the major cities around Australia. But by the sounds of things, they sold off or gave the rights to Oz Comic Con to another event company, and so they've decided. I think between giving the rights to Oz Comic Con away until Metro Comic Con became a thing, I think they took a bit of a hiatus. They weren't really doing major comic conventions for a while, so they've decided, by the sounds of things, that when I heard that Metro Comic Con was a thing and I heard who was running it, I was actually quite surprised. It's so for those of you who don't know, the Hub Productions is an event company here in Australia. I think they're based in Sydney or maybe Melbourne. I'm not 100% sure. But they are the ones who also put on the All Hell Breaks Loose events, which is a supernatural convention. There's also one that they do, I think they used to do for Doctor Who. They've done quite a few different specific events to like specific shows. I remember when I don't know if any of you have heard of these sci-fi shows, Eureka, Warehouse 13. They did like a sort of like an amalgamation of the two, kind of a convention. And at the time, I wasn't really aware of those smaller events. And so when they were putting those on, and I loved those shows, by the way, when they had already put those on, like maybe within the year or like a few months that when I started hearing about them. And I happened to have missed it, unfortunately. But at the same time, I don't think I had friends who were willing to go along with me, or maybe I just financially couldn't afford to go anyway. But that's totally fine. I still got to see some footage of it here and there on like YouTube and stuff and on the socials. But the Hub Productions used to run the Oz Comic Con event, which has now become a huge success here in Australia. And they don't run Oz Comic Con anymore, but Oz Comic Con now runs with a different event company, and they are put on in the major cities around the coast of Australia. So that includes Melbourne, Sydney, I believe it's Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth. So they're the 5 major cities that they put Oz Comic Con on. And they're actually really great conventions, but they've gotten to a point where they're really, really big now. And so by the sounds of things, because they've sold off the rights to the actual event, they mustn't have had an easy time running it. So yeah, that makes sense. It's totally fine. I don't like, it doesn't bother me that, there are different managements that get passed around, and but I just like the fact that these conventions are still running. It would have been really sad if they decided not to let it continue on, and then only have I think the only other major conventions that we have here in Australia is another one called the Supernova Expo, which is also another big one here in Australia that runs in the major cities that I've mentioned. And Supernova's gotten quite large as well, because they do end up bringing down quite a lot of different major celebrity guests from like films and TV shows. And so especially a lot of like the sci-fi ones, I think recently, I don't know if it was at Supernova. Yeah, it was at Supernova actually. I think they brought down the 13th Doctor from Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker. So she was here in Melbourne for Supernova. I would have loved to have gone to see her and meet her. Unfortunately, I had to make the decision financially which one I wanted to go to. I do like going to Supernova. Supernova has actually gotten to a point where the way that they're setting up their events is getting really awesome. They've expanded the venues so that they're utilizing more space so that they can have a lot more, exhibitors come in, a lot more artists in Artist Alley, and just more places to interact and socialize and do all our geeky nerdy things, and that's why I just kind of wanted to touch on those specific sort of conventions that are run here in Australia, to now go back to the fact that I went to Metro Comic Con this past weekend, being that it's their second year. It's still quite small at the moment. Like, it is growing, and the word of mouth, the way they're marketing it, they're doing really well so far. And this year they announced some really amazing guests that I did not think we would ever get here in Australia, considering the fact that they're big names. I mean, they're not your major celebrity guests from the main Marvel movies. Although I will say there is one Marvel, there is a celebrity guest that is here in Melbourne for Metro Comic Con this weekend that is from a Marvel movie, but I will get to that. But yeah, they've brought down some really amazing guests. And I'll just roll off the list from their website. And as I was saying before, with a Marvel actor from the Guardians of the Galaxy herself, Pom Clementif, who plays Mantis in Guardians. She's here for Metro Comic Con, which is amazing. So that's one particular guest from the MCU so far that Metro Comic Con has brought down, and that's actually her character may not have been a major character in Guardians. She was more of a supporting role, but it's still amazing to see that we're getting names like Pom Clementif here. We also have Tony Amendola, who was in Stargate SG-1, Once Upon a Time, Continuum, Annabelle, which is really cool. Brendan Routh is also here. Insane. Superman is in Melbourne. I've seen Brendan Routh in a couple of different shows, one of them being, I believe, Legends of Tomorrow, maybe? I think. Yeah, I must have come across him there. But I've also seen him in another show, but I'm blanking on the name of the show. Oh my goodness. Where else? I've seen him in something else. But it's not coming to me. Because, yeah, he was obviously in the Arrowverse as Superman. That's right, he was in The Rookie. He played a character called Doug Stanton for about 5 episodes. The Rookie's really good. I love that show. Was he in anything else that I would have been aware of? I just want to double check because his face does look very familiar to me, but it's not like I've definitely seen him in other things. Because I've never seen any of the Superman movies, to be honest. So I I know I'm not huge on being the I'm not a huge DC fan, I will say. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've harped on him a little bit too long already. But yeah, Brendan Routh is here, which is amazing. We've also got Aaron Moten, Mitch Pileggi, who I know from Supernatural, but he's also in Walker, and he's also been in Stargate, which is really cool. So Mitch Pileggi's amazing. He's a really cool dude. Matthew Waterson, who voices Magneto in X-Men 97. That's nuts. I can't believe that they managed to get a voice actor from a current new running series. It's amazing. It's so cool. I love that. He's also voiced a character in Hogwarts Legacy. I didn't know that. Well, that's pretty cool too. So he's here. Jamie Bamber is here who had roles in Battlestar Galactica, Law and Order UK, which is really cool. Jessica Madsen, who's been in Bridgerton, who most known for Bridgerton at the moment. We've got Sam Phillips, who's also in Bridgerton, but has also been in The Crown and The Syndicate. Bill Farmer, the amazing voice artist who plays the roles of Goofy, Pluto, Hop Pop, and Yosemite Sam, just to name a few. He is here. I think he's most well known for his voiceover work as Goofy, which is really cool. He's such a nice man. Like, just seeing him doing his thing at the autograph desk, at the autograph tables, and that was really cool. Freddie Carter, who's in Shadow and Bone, Pennyworth, Free Reign. Ethan Peck is also here from Star Trek SNW, Discovery. He was also in 10 Things I Hate About You, which is interesting. I haven't seen that movie, but that's where he's also known, what he's also known for. Christina Chong is also here, also from Star Trek SNW. She was also in Halo Nightfall, in Dominion, Black Mirror, and Doctor Who, which is cool. We did have... they did announce a few others that unfortunately had to cancel their trip to Melbourne for Metro Comic Con. Unfortunately, due to I'm gonna say work schedule changes or something personal came up, so they couldn't make it down. However, they had announced that Richard Dean Anderson was coming down, and he's been to Melbourne, to Australia in general, quite a few times, and he's a very well-regarded and very popular actor that a lot of people love to come and visit and meet. I was actually quite excited when they announced that Katie O'Brien was coming down to Melbourne, and then equally just as saddened when they announced that she had to cancel, which is fair. I mean, she is quite busy with her roles in like The Mandalorian. She was in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I was really excited to have hopefully been able to meet her, but I guess I'll just have to wait for another time if Katie ever comes back down to Australia. she's amazing. Katie O'Brien is awesome. I love her acting. She was really cool in The Mandalorian. And yeah, I was very excited, but then, like I said, equally, disappointed to find out that she wasn't able to make it. But it's totally fine. Like, I get it. They have their working lives, and other personal things that come up. So, not everyone can make it down, even if they are announced. They also announced that Kit Young was supposed to come down, who was in Shadow and Bone and The School for Good and Evil. And the other person that unfortunately had to cancel was Mike Quinn from the Star Wars saga, The Dark Crystal, and The Muppets. I have a feeling he is mostly so he's mostly, I think he's like about Mike Quinn. Mike Quinn's most famous for his role as Nien Nunb, Lando's co-pilot for the Millennium Falcon in Return of the Jedi, the final Star Wars trilogy and Disney theme park ride, Rise of the Resistance. Yeah, okay, there you go. So that's what he's mainly known for. But he's also apparently a lead animatronic puppeteer for CFX and Lucasfilm's Creature Department in the UK, which is really cool. I honestly, if I hadn't have, looked into his profile and checked out some of the stuff that he's worked on, he's worked with, personally chosen by Jim Henson and Frank Oz in 1980, to work on many Muppet projects, including The Great Muppet Caper, The Dark Crystal, Fraggle Rock, Labyrinth, Muppet Christmas Carol. Oh my goodness. Damn. If Mike Quinn never comes down, I definitely would love to meet him. I'm a huge fan of all of the Muppets, like the Muppet Show, the Muppet films that have been made, Sesame Street growing up as a child and all that sort of stuff. Fraggle Rock was also good fun to watch. I really love that. Oh my goodness. The Muppets and Muppets Now on Disney Plus. Okay, yeah. Oh man. Okay, well, that's okay if, it would, honestly, the fact that he cancelled and me finding out what he's from this way compared to if he hadn't have cancelled and he was here and then I find out what he's known for, I would have kicked myself. I honestly would have kicked myself if I had found out that he's here and I found out later that this is the stuff that he's known for. And I'd be like, well, damn, I don't really pay much attention to things, do I? Or I don't do my research very well. But that's fine. The next time he is announced to come back to a convention here in Melbourne, then I will definitely make sure to go and meet him because that's really cool. Wow, Mike Quinn. Holy moly. Huh. Who would have thought? Not me. But the one that I haven't mentioned that I actually did get to meet, who is here in Melbourne for Metro Comic Con, is Patrick Warburton. Holy crap, was I excited. I was fangirling so much the moment that it was announced on the Metro Comic Con socials that Patrick Warburton was coming down to Melbourne for their event. I lost my ever-loving mind. I could not believe that Patrick Warburton was coming down. That is a huge name. That's massive for us. He's mostly known for his roles, and mostly for like the voiceover roles in Family Guy, Emperor's New Groove, Kronk. Yet that is the major reason for me to want to meet him was because he voices Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove. And The Emperor's New Groove is one of my top 5 favorite Disney animated movies. No doubt about it. It is up there, like maybe top 3 even. I have watched The Emperor's New Groove so much to the point where I can almost recite it from start to finish. I love it. The humor is great, and there's a lot of great sort of family messaging in it as well. And it's such a great movie. I absolutely love it. It's just so much fun to watch. And Kronk is just, oh, he's such an innocent soul. Like he's Yzma's henchman, but it's like he got forced into the role. It's not like it's not like something that he wanted to do. And so he's always tackling the right and the wrong of what he's doing. And oh my goodness, it's so good. He's so good. But yeah, Patrick Warburton's also known for his role in Seinfeld, the New Jersey Devils guy. I forget his name, but he dons the jersey and the face paint and hisses and and now he's huge for that, especially with the New Jersey Devils, which is insane. Apparently, sometimes he's asked to go down to like their home games to do like a puck drop or something when they, I think it's like for their whenever they make like the Stanley Cup playoffs, for the first game and whatnot, when it's their first home game in the playoffs. And he says, I'll only do it. And because I also got the opportunity to go to his panel at Metro Comic Con, and he mentioned that he'd usually only do it now if they're not so that he can be paid, but if they write a check for his charity. Which is really sweet. Like the fact that he doesn't, like, he'll do it. He'll even don the face paint, but he'll only do it for charity, which is amazing. And you know what? The more power to him. That's awesome. Unfortunately, I do not know the name of the charity that he runs. But it is, I think it's, if I remember correctly, has something to do with like a children's hospital, or raising money for a particular, I think it's like pediatric, it's like a raising money for like pediatric care, I think it is. I'm kicking myself for not remembering the name of the charity, but yeah, so any kind of like appearance that he does that's sort of similar to that. He would rather the money go towards his charity, which is amazing. So he's a very wholesome dude. At the moment, and for those of you who would like to see the photo I had taken with him, you can see it on my socials, on X and on Instagram. He's currently donning a mustache. He's had that mustache for a little while now because it's for a role that he's been selected to play. And at the moment, it's still up in the air whether or not, because they haven't started production on this particular project that he's supposed to be on, according to him. And he essentially said, like, he's been trying to contact, the producers and the casting, saying, like, trying to find out scheduling about when this is going to start, so that he can, get to a point where he can remove the mustache, because he's not a big fan of it, apparently. But by the sounds of things, he's not a huge fan of having this really bushy mustache, this very Tom Selleck mustache, I will say. And you'll be able to see what I mean when you see the photo of me and him together on my social. So yeah, if you want to go check it out, at Foolish Fuji on Instagram and X. I've posted the digital version of the photo up for you all to check out. And yeah, he's really nice, very humble. I even got an autograph. I selected a picture of his character Kronk, because of course I did. And he noticed that I was also wearing a Kronk-related T-shirt. I specifically wore it for the photo. And let me just mention, when I walked up for the photo op, when I walked up to him, he saw my T-shirt, and just before we posed to take to get the photo taken, he smiled. He's like, "Oh, squeak squeakity," and then I just my smile was already big, but then it just broadened even more. It just went ear to ear as soon as he said that. I'm like, "Oh, damn! I am fangirling even more now." So you'll see that massive smile on my face in that photo you check out later. And then when I went to get an autograph, I got, like I said, I selected a picture of Kronk and he signed it. And he also wrote, like, on one side, he, personalized message. And then on the other side, he wrote squeak, squeak. So like squeak, squeakity, squeakins. The way that Kronk would say. And I'm like, I love this, man. This is so cool. So I will treasure this photo for the rest of my life. Even if it is just of the character he voiced. It's definitely, whenever I get photos and autographs, I like the physical forms. I will always, I've got like a whole display folder with all of my photo ops that I've had, any autographs that I've also received. And I put them all in my little, like, I've got a folder where I've got two actually. One of them is for all of the photo ops that I had with the actual actors, and then another one where it's just if I didn't get a photo with them but I got their autographs, I'll put them in a separate folder. So I've kind of separated them. I used to do when I first started going to conventions, I used to do the whole, get the photo with the person, and then once I had the photo in my hand physically, then I'd go line up to get that photo signed by that person. But I've got to a point where I would probably say in the last 10 years, I've stopped. I don't go out of my way to get autographs as much as I used to. Just purely because of the fact that it's very expensive. And look, these people, they take time out of their work schedules, out of their lives to come and visit and attend these conventions to appease the fans and to make everybody happy. And I hope that they also enjoy these experiences themselves, because we most certainly do. And I appreciate the fact that the event managers do also have to pay these people to come out to these conventions. But man, are these photo and autograph costs, they are so exorbitant sometimes, depending on the actor, depending on the guest. They kind of range between like a minimum of like $40 or $50 up to, and not limited to, like $200. I remember the year that Chris Hemsworth was at Supernova in Sydney. I flew up to Sydney for that Supernova because he was going to be there. But he wasn't the only one that I was going to see. I was also there to see some other guests as well. But Chris Hemsworth, I think I'm going to say Chris Hemsworth was probably my most expensive photo op I have ever had. I didn't get an autograph token. Like, I didn't end up getting an autograph from him, just purely because of the fact that the photo itself was already expensive for me, and the fact that I flew to Sydney for this event. I couldn't justify paying. And usually the difference, the price difference between the photo and the autograph, it's usually only a $10 difference, like a $10, maybe a $20 difference, which isn't a lot, to be honest. So, I believe, if I remember correctly, my photo op with Chris Hemsworth costed me $180 just for the photo. Yeah, $180. So you can imagine why I didn't want to, double that and get an autograph. Like, you know what? I got my photo. I'm happy. That's enough. I was okay with just going to just for the photo. And nowadays, whenever I go to conventions, if there are guests that I really want to see, if I'm really excited to see them and I want an opportunity to savor the memory of seeing them, I will definitely go and get myself a photo with them. And I don't need an autograph. It's fine. The memory of just seeing the fact that I've got a photo of me and that person is enough now. That's enough for me. But if, like with Patrick Warburton, where I bought the photo and the autograph tokens so that I can get both of them, that one was a bit more special to me just because of the fact that, the Emperor's New Groove is something that I grew up on when it was, I absolutely love it. And it's such a great film and memory for me that I really wanted to at least go up and speak to him as well and, ask him a couple of questions. So it was just really nice to get that sort of intimate moment with him. And that's why getting, a photo, because with the photo opportunities, you go in, you take the photo, you're out. It's like not even a 10-second experience, honestly. You go into that photo booth, you stand next to them, they take the photo, and if they're happy, we move on, and then we're out of there. So it's, and especially because of the fact they have to get through so many people who have bought these tokens to get photos with them. And that's why, and especially considering the fact that the photo sessions don't always last very long. They're usually roughly around, it's like half an hour. Like the photo sessions are usually about half an hour. Sometimes, depending on the guest, it might be a little bit longer, especially if they're really big. So they'll probably have like maybe a 45-minute time slot, or maybe an hour. It really depends on the guest and how popular they are. And yeah, so that's why, and especially because of that, they have to run through as many people as they can. If you jump onto the Metro Comic Con Instagram page, you'll also see the fact that they've been popping up time-lapse videos of some of the photo sessions that were had. I think I recently saw one with Brendan Routh, that everybody was going in, getting their photos taken with him, and then going out. And then it's a time-lapse of just a lot of people just coming in, going out, coming in, going out. And you can imagine that they're there to doing that for like a good, I don't know, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending on the session. And it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, I applaud them for being patient and, being courteous for us to be able to meet them and take photos with them, which is really cool. So, yeah, like I said, really depends on the celebrity guests for me to get both, like with Patrick Warburton, where I got both the photo and the autograph. But nowadays, I tend to just go for photographs only, just so that I'm saving a little bit of money for other things like shopping. That is another thing that I want to talk about with my my time at Metro Comic Con. I also, apart from meeting celebrity guests, the other major thing about going to a comic convention is the shopping aspect of it and the amount of exhibitors that are there to sell merchandise, artists that are there who have created their own merchandise, people that are there selling comic books. There's people there selling apparel like t-shirts and hoodies. There are also stands there that, print different t-shirts. with different the different show. Like it might be a quote, it might be a picture representing that movie or that show. There are people there, who are selling pins and patches and all sorts of different things. Cards. Oh man, for this particular weekend when I went to Metro Comic Con, a lot of stands had a lot of TCG being sold. Trading card games, man. Everybody's all about them these days. There are so many different trading card games available now, and a lot of the exhibitor stands that I walked past had some form of TCG being sold at their stand. Pokemon, One Piece, Magic the Gathering, you name it. And the newest one here in Australia, at least, has been Lorcana. I've been seeing bits and pieces of Lorcana pop up here and there. I have decided that I wanted to jump in on the Lorcana train and I want to learn how to play Lorcana. However, I still haven't been able to, and I do have my starter deck. I just haven't had an opportunity to go somewhere that holds events where you can play Lorcana. So I'm going to do a little bit more research. I did try to go to one maybe about a month ago, and unfortunately, on the day that I went and at the time that I went, unfortunately, there weren't many people there who were there to play Lorcana. They were there to play like the other trading card games. So I didn't end up staying there for too long. And then, so unfortunately, I still haven't had a chance to play it. However, I have watched a lot of I've watched some YouTube videos on how it's played. I've seen some gameplay of it. And so now I get the gist of how it's played. Reading instructions, and look, the Disney Lorcana app is great. It tells you what you need to know about the game and how it's played. But I'm very much a visual learner. So for me, I really needed to see how it was played by others. So that's what I ended up doing. So I ended up doing a little bit of research and found some YouTube videos of people actually playing Lorcana against each other. And it looks fairly simple. I like the look of it. The cards, like the arts, the card art is amazing. It is very detailed. And I love the fact, because it's all Disney characters as well. It's based off Disney characters. It looks really cool. I love the look of it. I only have the first chapter starter deck. And I did also buy a few booster packs from the first chapter. Since then, though, since the release of it here in Australia, there have been other what are they called? Like other card sets that have been released, but I just haven't, I would love to go out of my way to buy them so that I can create my deck properly. But until I learn how to play myself and see what works for me, I don't see a reason to go out of my way to buy more cards just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can find a way or go somewhere that actually does have enough players to play the game. I did ask around when I was at Metro Comic Con, and I think there was like one of the stands, they gave me their business card. They're like, we hold Lorcana, sessions down at our stores. If you want to come down, they said they hold it on Saturdays. So that might be an option for me. The only problem is their store is actually out southeast way. And it's quite a fair way for me to get there. Like, it's a bit of a drive. It's definitely minimum an hour to get there from where I live, at least. So it might be one of those things where I don't go every week, but I might try to go once a month just to sort of start off and get an idea of how it's played. just so that I can at least practice. So I might consider doing that. But yeah, Metro Comic Con, a lot of exhibitors. The one thing I will also mention, there was also a lot of places weren't just selling things, they were also just advertising stuff that they are currently creating or that are still in kind of like a pre-production phase. For example, there was a stand that was advertising a new comic book, and it is called Jump Punch by Nathan Onius and Daryl Leach. They were giving out free, I think it was like, this is chapter 1 of Jump Punch, and I read through it, and it's actually really decent. It's actually really cool. It's essentially a world, it's explore a world of magic, mayhem, and martial arts. It's really cool. There are some characters in here. Like the first character that you meet does a lot of parkour, and their name is Joe. There's another character that we meet, and their name's Cindy, who's a computer hacker. And then we come across a couple of, enemies. And, one's named Deadeye, and who's apparently a lethal assassin there. And then we also meet another character called Smasher, who's just this really strong Hulk type character where he just smashes things, essentially. Or people. I'd say more so people. So yeah, they were giving out the first chapter of their actual comic book story for free, so that everybody could get an idea of what to expect from their comic book when it's fully released. And they've got there's like a QR code on the top left corner and on the back of the book as well, to their Kickstarter page, which is really awesome. I will definitely pop down a link to their Instagram page, because their Instagram page actually has the link to the Kickstarter as well as the same. So I have the physical copy of chapter 1 of Jump Punch, but they also have a digital version of it available on their Instagram page. So I will give you their Instagram tag, which is Jump Punch Comic, all one word. So if you look them up on Instagram, both the Kickstarter link and the chapter 1 of the comic itself, which is free to read, it is available for you to go out of your way to read as well. They are Australian comic book writers and illustrators, which is awesome. Based in Melbourne, which is even better for me. But yeah, so go check it out. Jump Punch, a martial arts fantasy comic. It looks pretty cool. I love the concept of it. I might actually back this particular project on Kickstarter. So I have saved the Kickstarter project for future reference, so it'll notify me when it goes live. I don't think it goes live for a while. It'll be launching this year, but it'll be launching later on this year. I think they mentioned it was like in November they'll be launching the Kickstarter campaign. So definitely go check out their Kickstarter. Save it into your saved projects so that you can be notified when it does go live. I've never backed a comic book for a Kickstarter, and needless to say, I'm not huge on reading comic books in general. However, I have recently been collecting some. So now that I've kind of read this first chapter of Jump Punch, I feel like I might go out of my way to grab one of the other comic books that I've bought in the past, and sort of maybe just give it a flick through and see if it sparks anything. I know that I think it was last year when I went to, it might have been a Supernova, and I ended up buying a Moon Knight omnibus volume, I think it was, a Moon Knight comic omnibus. And I haven't really read much of it. I think I've only read like the first couple of pages. But I feel like I need to go back out of my way to actually read through the whole thing like properly, or maybe just read one sort of volume at a time and see how I feel. Because I love Moon Knight. That might be a future topic to talk about. I won't get into it now. But yeah, comic books are very like, it's not new to me, but just in general, in terms of me actually getting into it, I'm getting like that's new. I've been reading manga for a while. They're Japanese comics. So I have read Japanese comics, and I do have quite a collection. Like I say, quite a collection. I've got a few collections of manga. However, that's a little different to your Western comics. I haven't really been huge on Western comics, but I have bought like a few here and there recently in the last like 5 to 10 years. So I might actually, go back and find them and just sort of flick through them and see whether or not I really like the idea of collecting more, maybe. We'll see. We shall see. But yeah, so that's one of the things that I sort of came across when I was at the convention. Another thing I will mention is that I did a bit more shopping, and ended up finding myself some goodies, which I have also posted on my Instagram page if you'd like to check it out. So whenever I go to the conventions, my favorite part of the convention is actually going into Artist Alley, which is where people hand make their own merchandise or hand draw their own or whatever. Like they make it themselves, they design it themselves, and it's really awesome to see their creativity come to life in the form of these types of merchandise. And it's definitely really cool to be able to buy them, and it's also a great way to support them as well, to show them that you really love the work that they've done, and their creativity is just amazing. It always blows my mind how awesome some of this stuff is made, and how well, like, the quality of them, and just the creativity in general, and in the way that they're made, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like I said, if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see, like, I didn't buy too much, but I did have like a little small haul of shopping from Metro Comic Con. So I bought, I've been trying to steer away from buying prints these days, because I've got so many prints that I bought in the past that I haven't had a chance to display in any shape or form. So they've kind of just been, carefully shelved away somewhere for future, in case I end up moving out and then I pop it up that way. But at the moment, so this particular time around at Metro Comic Con, I only bought one print that really struck me when I first saw them. And it's a kind of a sepia tone style image. Looks very Japanese in terms of like the font and the writing that they've used. However, if you look really closely, it's actually written in English. So the lettering of the words that are on the print, they're all English words that you can actually see, but the way that they design the font, they look like Japanese characters, but they're not really, which is really awesome. But it did take me a little while to kind of read some of it, because because of the way that it's stylized. But once you get the gist of a couple of the letters, then you can read the rest, which is really cool. So I got a print of Zoro, who is my current favorite character in One Piece at the moment, and I love him to death. No one can tell me otherwise. And yeah, so it's a really, really kick-ass looking image of Zoro. He's holding up a couple of swords. And just the way that it's also drawn in the artists, like in their vision, is really cool. Yeah, and just the way that the lettering with the Japanese looking words on the print itself, it really struck me. Like, it stood out compared to a lot of other stands that were in Artist Alley. This one specifically, because they were all in the same sort of, like, it was a very monochrome looking stand, because they were all in the same sort of coloring. It's very sepia with the black drawings and the lettering, which is really awesome. So it really did stand out compared to a lot of other stands. And so that's why I was like, you know what? Forget it. I need to buy a print from them, and it looks really cool. I do intend on hopefully finding a really nice sort of frame for it. I'll just get like a nice black wooden frame, like in a not too thick frame, probably a thin one, and with like a white border, so that I can then have the image sort of in the middle of the frame that has a white border, and then the black frame around that. So that would actually look really awesome. I might try and find a frame like that. Another piece that I bought, came across a stand that made, like, handmade, a lot of all these stands have handmade their own creations. This particular stand, I saw up on the wall of their stand, they had these like wooden signage, I suppose, if you would call them that. They're kind of like, wall art, the hanging wall art made of wood. And they look really cool. But the one that stood out to me the most, because of the way that it was painted, was the Straw Hat Pirates symbol. So it's the symbol of the Straw Hat Pirates on a blue background with a red frame, and it's a circle. So it's a round sign. It's fairly large as well in terms of its size. And like, I won't say it's massive, but it's still a decent size. And it just stood out compared, like, they had quite a lot of other things there too, on their walls, which was really cool. But yeah, I just like that particular one specifically, is just stood out just because of how, bold those colors were. And especially considering the fact that the outline of the Straw Hat Pirate symbol is just in like this really thick black outline, and just made everything stand out so well. And I love it so much. So I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm buying that. I am 100% grabbing one of those. It is awesome looking, and I will definitely find a place to hang that, along with my Zorro print. So I might try and keep those two together, or I don't know, maybe I'll separate them. Who knows? Another thing that they also sell, and I don't know if you guys in North America or anywhere else in the world has this, but here in Australia, our supermarkets actually have little, like, you have to insert coins to use trolleys, and because they get locked away with like this locking system. But if you put in like a gold coin, like a $1 or a $2 coin into this little slot, it'll unlock the trolley from the cart in front of it. So what a lot of people have been doing, because especially considering this kind of time, in this kind of era, a lot of people don't really carry cash around as much as they used to, including me. I'm generally at the moment, I'm that type of person who doesn't really carry around cash anymore. But at the moment Aldi sells these little trolley tokens that is essentially the same size as an Australian $2 coin. And all you have to do is just insert it into the $2 slot, and then it'll unlock most trolleys. There have been people who have been going around and making and buying little trolley tokens that are similar to the one that Aldi's selling. There are also, I don't know, you might see it in the photo, and there'll be a close-up version of it on my Instagram page for that post with the stuff that I've bought. I've also bought a little trolley token key sort of a thing. I can't remember. I don't know the naming. I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but essentially it's like this little. It's got the same size end to a coin, and you insert it into the slot to unlock. So you can unlock the trolley, and then you can take it out without having to keep it in there, so that you can then just put your keys away and just go off and do your shopping. And you don't have to worry about using coins or having to find another trolley that you can then lock your trolley away so that you can get your coin back. So this is actually a really cool little device, I suppose, little instrument that you can use to save you from having to worry about carrying around coins for a trolley at a supermarket. So I kind of like that. And it's also got the design of, it's got the Straw Hat Pirates symbol on that one as well. So I thought, you know what, we'll stick with the theming, and I'll grab it. I'll grab one with the One Piece, the One Piece symbol on it. So that'll do for me, which is really cool. So I ended up buying that from the same stand as the hanging wall, the wooden wall art. And yeah, they deserved it. Like the craftsmanship that went into at least the wooden wall hanger is just awesome. I absolutely loved it, and it's a joint thing between a couple. It's like a couple business where I think one of them does the actual like assembling and the cutting outs and all that sort of stuff, whereas the other one does the painting. Which is really cool. I love that it's a collaborative experience for them. But yeah, it just looks really awesome. Another thing that I also ended up buying was a little pin of the animated X-Men version of Wolverine. It's just his head. It's kind of silhouette-y, but not really, because it has the black and the yellow. And I believe it's made out of polymer clay. And it's a pin. So it's in a pin form. They also made it in earring form, like I think studs, potentially hanging like dangly earrings too. I don't remember exactly if that's specifically had the dangly ones, but I do remember seeing like this particular design in the studs, I think. But I saw the pin, and I've been looking to get more into, because I've been absolutely loving the current, like the old X-Men animation series after watching X-Men 97. I absolutely loved X-Men 97 to the point where I wanted to go back and watch the actual old series. And I've been looking at getting some X-Men merch for quite a while since I started watching the series. And this was the only thing that I could really find at the convention, at least, that really stuck out to me. It's small, but at least I can wear it around wherever I go, and you can see that, I'm a fan of Wolverine, because, he's really cool. He really cares about his friends, which is awesome. And yeah, I just, for whatever reason, Wolverine's just, yeah, he's cool. I like him. And yeah, I've been trying to find, and I haven't seen it anywhere, like other types of X-Men merch, in terms of like trying to find like a figurine, but I haven't been able to find a figurine, unfortunately. Well, at least one that I feel is cheap, I suppose. I mean, decent. It needs to be decent quality, of course, but I just haven't been able to come across anything good enough for me to buy and display in my room. So I'm still on the lookout and the hunt for like a figurine. I have seen a statue or a couple of statues of Gambit. That is quite a decent size. It looks pretty hefty, and it is also quite expensive. But I would love to get a statue of Gambit, at least the ones that I've seen. They look really awesome. And yeah, Gambit is becoming one of my absolute favorite characters in the show. And yeah, he's so funny. Our little Cajun. I'm definitely on the hunt for some X-Men merch. So if you know of any good X-Men merch that I am able to come across or buy or whatever, please let me know. Maybe send me a link and I'll have a look into it. That'd be really cool. What else did I buy? Oh yes, of course. So I also went to a couple of other stands in Artist Alley. I found a pair of PlayStation earrings, which I will be donning for my run on the PlayStation Drive, although you probably won't see them underneath my headphones that I wear because they're over-ear headphones, unfortunately. But they are there and they look really cool. I love them. It's literally just the main button symbols as little dangly earrings, sort of studs. So, you got the X, the triangle, the circle, and the square. It looks really cool. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wear them as my my PlayStation Drive earrings, or whenever I decide I'm going to be wearing or theme out my outfit in PlayStation with my PlayStation t-shirt and whatever. So when I saw that, I'm like, you know what? I'm grabbing that. That's cool. I love it. And then another couple of other things that I also bought were some acrylic key tags. One is of Mei Mei from Turning Red, as in her red panda form, which and she looks so cute as well. It's also double-sided, so it's very good quality key tags. Double-sided, where one side you see, the red panda on the front, and then on the back you have the silhouette of the red panda's back with Mei sort of in her human form behind her, which is really cool. I love that extra little feature to the key tag. And the other acrylic key tag that I ended up buying from the same stand was I ended up finding the Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda. Now, I did ask the stand owners if they had any other Kung Fu Panda related key tags, but unfortunately they only had Tai Lung, and they had the antagonist from number 3, I think. No, number 2. Number 2. Hold on. I need to find out because it's doing my head in that I don't remember the name. It's Shen something. Hold on. Kung Fu Panda. I think it was 2. I think it was 2, or maybe it was 3. It might have been 3. Shen. Gary Oldman was the voice of Shen. I was right. Okay, so Shen. I thought there was like an extra name. I thought there was like a second word to their name, but it's just Shen. And he's from Kung Fu Panda 2. They had Tai Lung and Shen. But out of the two, I feel like because Kung Fu Panda 1 is my absolute favorite Kung Fu Panda film, Tai Lung is a pretty cool and badass, antagonist. I kind of like his character. It's really cool. So I decided, what, I'll go with Tai Lung, because he's awesome. And yeah, so I got those from one stand, and then I had bought the PlayStation earrings from another one. Another thing that I ended up buying were these little fidget toys. Now, I don't usually tend to go for fidget toys. However, and you'll probably see it in the main image on my Instagram page where it has everything, but they're quite small, and I'm hoping you will notice it. on the crochet blanket that I have it on. Very, very colorful kind of crochet blanket. It's these little fidget toys that were 3D printed, but they're little. It's a keyboard key on a particular Pokemon. And these ones, I think they're linear ones, so I'll just. But yeah, I ended up buying two of them because they had a little deal going that if you buy two, you can get them for $20. So I ended up buying two little Pokemon fidget toys that had the little that has a key on it, a keyboard key, and I got a Lapras and I got a Bulbasaur because they're kind of my favorite Pokemons from the first gen. But yeah, I feel like they're currently sitting on my desk at the moment, and I know that I'm the type of person who taps a lot. So rather than, making my keyboard light up, or when the computer's off, or when I feel like I need to tap something, maybe I'll grab like a Bulbasaur and I'll just start just tapping away. Or my Lapras if I feel like I need to, just leave it on the desk and just tap away. And yeah, so I kind of like the idea of these little 3D printed Pokemon with the little the keyboard keys in them. Like it's just a single key that you can just tap away, and it's probably the only sort of fidget toy that I would really play with, to be honest. I think I have one at work that's sitting on top of like one of the computer monitors, and sometimes I'll go past it and just sort of like tap it a few times. So yeah, I bought a couple of them. And the last thing before I left the convention itself, I was heading out. I was making my way out. It was the end of the day. I got my autograph from Patrick Warburton, and I was going to get some ice cream, but the ice cream stand said that their ice cream machine was under maintenance, unfortunately. So I was like, all right, well, no ice cream for me, I suppose. So I'll head home. On my way out, I thought I'm just going to have one final sweep and see if there's anything that stands out that I might be, interested in. And I came across towards the entrance point, one of the exhibitors' stands were selling some figurines, like anime character figurines. So I thought, you know what, let me just take a gander, see if I can find something that interests me. It's a character that I really love from an anime might pop up, and I might want to grab it because I kind of want to get more figurines to sort of display on my shelf and stuff like that. So I went in, I had a look around, and in the corner on one of the shelves was some K-On! Characters. I was very excited to see the K-On! Characters, and they didn't just have one or two, which is what you normally would find with K-On! and some of the smaller animes that is not, when I say smaller, I mean it's not as hugely known here, especially. And I absolutely love K-On! K-On's a really great series. It's very cute and funny. It's about these students who form their own little music club, and they're trying to keep this club going, and they don't want the school to close it down, so they're trying to get like more and more members in, and just each of these characters have their own like really cute and unique personalities, and the main character, who is Yui Hirasawa, is just so adorable. She's a very kind of like an Usagi from Sailor Moon, kind of like her character, where she's kind of lazy about doing homework. She's not really the type of person who wants to do homework, but she, reluctantly does it. She loves to eat, similar to Usagi as well. But she also likes to play guitar, and she wants to learn more of it, and she loved the idea of being in this music club. So it's a really cute and fun anime. I would highly recommend you check it out if you can. I'm pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll. I'm just going to double check for you right now because I could be wrong. Because most of the time I am. But if I have a quick look for K-On! On Crunchyroll, it doesn't look like it's on Crunchyroll. Okay, I am absolutely incorrect. Okay, so there is no K-On! Crunchyroll. If you can get your hands on maybe the DVDs, like at a library or something, or if it comes up on another streaming service that you are subscribed to, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's not a huge series. I think it's like maybe 1 or 2 seasons. I believe it's about 2 seasons. I did go out of my way to buy the actual complete series set on Blu-ray, and I need to do a rewatch of K-On! I've watched it through once, but it's stuck with me for quite a while. And the time when I first watched it, it was on a subscription service here called Anime Lab. And that was quite some time ago because Anime Lab no longer exists because they were bought out by Funimation. I found a K-On! Figurine of Yui Hirasawa. There were quite a few other figurines there of the other characters and a couple of variations of Yui. But I don't know, for some reason, the one where you'll see it in the photo, she's got blue overalls on, and she's got a little bag. She's wearing red Chuck Taylors by the look of them. And just, the way that she's kind of like standing and just sort of posing, got her cute little smile. It's adorable. I love the look of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm here. I'm at Comic-Con. I'm just gonna do a little extra splurging on my way out and just buy this figurine. It only cost me $40, which I say only. Some other figurines were a lot more than that. And considering that a lot of these are imported figurines because they've got all the Japanese writing all over them. So there's no actual, the only English word that's actually on there is the name of the show they're from and the character name on the side of the box. And a couple of other words, I think it's got something to do with the company that makes them or something. I don't know. But yeah, these are imported figurines and I had to grab this particular one. So yeah, that's going to be going on my shelf at some point. I'm not sure where exactly. Maybe behind me, the shelf behind me in the stream room, or maybe I'll just keep it in the bedroom on my big TV unit that's in there with all my other like figurines and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all I bought. It doesn't look like I didn't buy a lot compared to previous years. Whenever I go to a convention, I usually spend a lot, but I feel like I've kind of held back a bit more, mostly because of the fact that financially I don't want to like spend all of my money, but rip my my salary from this week from work. But that's fine. I don't go to conventions as often as I used to, so I think I'm okay to splurge a little bit on this particular weekend for this one convention I've gone to. But yeah, so I am. Oh my gosh, I've lost my train of thought. Where was I? This is what happens when I start saying something and then I realize I start tangenting a little bit and then I come back and then I've lost my train of thought and I can't think of what I was talking about. Oh, that's right. I was holding back on spending at conventions. Yes, that's right. I hear you. You're probably yelling at me, telling me this is what you were talking about, Foya. I'm like, yes, I know. I remember now. Yeah, so I don't spend as much when I go to conventions these days, mostly because financially I don't want to, I say I don't want to waste my money. For me, this is not a waste, but it's more I'm getting a bit more picky about the things I want now. I know what I want, and that's what I keep my eye out for. If something really stands out to me, like the wood frame hanger or the Zorro print, I'll definitely go out of my way to spend a little bit more for them. However, for smaller things like the Wolverine pin or, these little fidget toys, I try not to go out of my way to buy things like that as much, only because of the fact that, I might like it in the moment, but I may not want them to keep. Like, there'll be a point in my life where I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember buying this, but I don't use it anymore. Or, it's sitting in some corner collecting dust, and I don't want that to happen to stuff that I buy nowadays. So, and that's also another reason why I don't buy as many prints as I used to. I would love to buy more prints from all these different artists, because they're all so freaking talented. Like, the amount of, there were more artist stands than there were exhibitor stands. And that always makes me so happy to see, because it means I get to support more and see more creativity. And I just, like I said, when I first started talking about the stuff that I've been buying, it blows my mind how creative these people can be when they're making their creations. So yeah, now I go through Artist Alley and I'm a bit more picky about what I buy. And these days I'm buying more of the small stuff, like pins, like lapel, like enamel pins, or just, pins in general. I'll try to do that. I like getting, handmade earrings, because earrings I can definitely wear to work, and, people will comment on them. And the workplace that I work at, really allows you to be yourself in the way you present yourself. So you can be, as nerdy as you really want to be, or you can be as conservative as you want to be. So they don't really care, as long as it's presentable for the workplace. And yeah, it's a retail store, so and considering the fact that a lot of the stuff that we sell is also, very relatable to that. We sell merchandising for music bands, and also for we have sections for gaming, and there's DVDs and Blu-rays and CDs and all that sort of stuff. So, you can definitely, show off the fact that you are fans of these, IPs. So most of the time when I go to conventions and I look for things that I can wear, mostly it'll be t-shirts with really cool prints, or it'll be earrings that are handmade, or if, just the designs look really cool, pins that I can pop onto my hoodie or my t-shirt. Now sometimes I'm also looking out for key tags that I can chuck onto my backpack, or my other bags, just so that I can, that little extra flair of personality sort of comes through when I use my bags. And then the stuff that I buy that's for home is going to be a little bit more larger in size. For instance, like a figurine or something to hang on the wall. So yeah, but now I'm just being a little bit more picky about what I really want to purchase. So that's why whenever I walk around at the conventions, I actually do laps of the convention, because they're I might go through it once and then I'll forget what I've seen, so I'll have to go again. But the second time I go around, I'll be like, oh, wait, hold on a second. I didn't see this stand the last time that I came through. So then I'll go over to them. Or it'll be a moment of, I see a particular item from one stand. I'll be like, I need to think about it. So I go for a lap and I come back and then I see it again. And if I see it and I'm looking at the same thing, for the second time, it really means that I want it. So then I'll be like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get it anyway. So that's kind of the thing with me in conventions. But, Metro Comic Con was a good time. I really enjoyed my experience for the one day that I went. You can buy weekend passes where you can go for both days. I'd say that's more so for people who are doing like the guest photo and autograph opportunities, especially if you're going for the more popular ones that have, the major queues. And considering the fact that the sessions that they hold, there's not very many of them in each day, and especially if you also want to go to their panels, and you're seeing a lot of these different guests, then the weekend pass is definitely worth your money to go. They do have they do also have special like VIP passes, or you get like the premium packages where you can get like a couple of different photo ops and autographs included in the package. There's like a special little after party event that you can attend. The Metro Comic Con also put together I think they called it like a meet and greet kind of dinner opportunity with the guests, which is really cool. Let me just see, what is it called? Meet and eat. Sorry, not meet and greet. Meet and eat, which is only on the Saturday night of the weekend, and so if you get that particular, like if you buy that particular ticket, then you will be emailed the event details, which is usually a post-convention, sort of after the Saturday convention is done in the evening, depending on the restaurant or the event space that they go to. That's where you'll have the dinner. And I've actually done a couple of these kind of like meet and eats in the past, especially when I first started doing like attending conventions, where you actually get to sit at a table with that particular celebrity guest that you end up paying for. So that one particular guest, they'll sit at the table with you, and I think it's like 10 other people on the table. And you just get to, it's like a little bit more of an intimate setting to actually speak to them and just enjoy like some dinner together and some drinks, and just get you can get a little bit more personal in having a conversation with some of them, depending on what they want to talk about. But it's actually a really cool experience. I really enjoyed doing them in the past, and it just, I feel like it's a more of a relaxed setting as well. So it allows the celebrity guests to be a bit more relaxed. They don't have to stand around, taking photos or sit there for hours doing autographs. They can just sit there and have a nice conversation with you, and just have some dinner. And it just, they come at it, sometimes they come out of their shell a bit more that way. And it's actually really nice. They do cost a pretty penny though, I will admit. They do expect like a bit of a fee, because it's also not only are you having dinner, because obviously dinner's included, but it's also the fact that you're there in a more intimate setting with these celebrity guests. So that's like another way that they also will get paid to be able to do these sort of things. And a lot of the guests actually really enjoy doing these meet and eat style events, just because of the relaxed setting, and they're actually quite fun. I was considering doing it for Project Warburton, but I thought about it and I knew that this was going to be a late night thing, and considering the fact that Sundays is at the moment, I have to help my parents with their business, essentially. So I wasn't able to stay out too late. So I thought, you know what, rather than do that and then be tired for the next day when I have to go and work, I'm not going to do that. It's fine. I got to see them. I had a photograph with them. I got an autograph with them. I got to ask them a question. And I think that was enough for me for this particular weekend. But yeah, almost coming up to the hour and a half mark of talking about Metro Comic Con and conventions in general. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Like I said, if you want to check out any of the what was I saying? If you want to check out any of the artists that I've mentioned that I've bought stuff for, you can go, like I said, on my Instagram page. I did a post of my little haul of merch that I bought. I have tagged at least I tried to tag each of the vendors that with the piece that I bought. Some of them I unfortunately was unable to remember the names of, or to find them on Instagram. So yeah, if you want to check them out, I have tagged them on my post for Metro Comic Con, and then you can go check out their website if you like, or their Instagram pages, so that you can maybe purchase something for yourself. And that is it from me. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the Many Thoughts I Have podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could give a 5-star review or rating on your podcast service of choice. You can find me on socials, as I've mentioned earlier, at Foolish Fuji on X and Instagram. For video content, you can head over to youtube.com/Foolish Fuji, and for my live streams, twitch.tv/Foolish Fuji. All this and more will be on my website, foolishfuji.card.co. That's card with 2 R's. All of the info I just rolled off will be in the show notes. That's it from me. Remember to look after yourself and your mental health. And happy thinking, friends.